College football's top 5, cracking the code on the voice of college football. Welcome in, everyone, to the voice of college football, where, of course, you have a voice. You see it each and every call-in show, all our live streams, team-specific live streams, each and every day, multiple times per day. You've got a voice. I've got a voice, of course. Thank you so much for many of you and your feedback concerning the Voice of College Football title. And then, of course, the analysts, the broadcasters, the writers, the commentators, they have a voice here. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, and subscribe. So you like the video because it helps us build the channel. Even if you don't agree with me, if you enjoy the content, best discussion, debate, and analysis of college football, that's the aim, that's the goal, that's the mission. We work on that every day to get better. And of course, you share the videos because if others enjoy the content, you will as well. Subscribe so you don't miss those live streams. They're all over our 22 channels. So please subscribe. Hit the bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live. We have to change schedules at times. All right, let's get to the top 5 here because I picked up a couple of these babies, as many of you have as well. And I have made that a ritual, as many of you have as well down through the years. Even though we've got all this information online, and I even looked at the prices and thought, is this really worth it? Because all this information's online. Okay. The analysis of the players isn't going in depth enough beyond anything we can't find online. But it's nice to have the hard copy, and of course, because of what I do, if I need to reference something, sometimes it's easier to go online, sometimes it's easier just to flip a page. So I picked up these babies. You got Lindy's, you got Athlons, I've got tons of them through the years. You've got Street and Smith's. You got Phil Steele's publication as well. Okay. Can somebody out there, one of you, I've got a challenge for you. Find me a publication, whether it be one of these main publications or any credible source online, or even non-credible source online, because we have more of those than credible sources online or anywhere else, that has anybody else in the top 5, preseason top 5, including me, my way too early top 25 included, like everybody else. Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma. Does anybody out there have anybody else in the top 5? Now again, I'm not criticizing anybody because I had that same top 5. Of course, they're mixed up, but had that same top 5 after the national championship game prior to spring practice. We will release, of course, a top 25 prior to the season that will be our predictions, and of course may do something in the meantime as well. Okay. We know that these publications are conservative. I've outlined that elsewhere many times. I have proven that they are way too conservative. I am not criticizing them for not having anybody outside of the 5 that rule college football. I get it. If you truly believe in your prediction, whether that be a contrarian prediction or projection or analysis, or it's the groupthink standard mainstream forecasting, I can respect either one as long as it's authentic. Because I make the same approach. I have a contrarian opinion many times concerning certain subjects, and I will stick my neck out there and defend it. Other times I'm right with the mainstream because I believe it's pretty obvious to everyone that's the truth, that's the reality. Okay, but these are over-conservative. I've proven that in my analysis of the magazines over the last 3 years in particular. Phil Steele, by the way, where are you? I have forgotten about you over the last few weeks. I'm going to reach out to you because you are truly the top of the industry and would love to have you on again, and we will be looking for Phil Steele in particular. All right. We dissect these teams on a daily basis. Look through the team channels. Look at what we do here on the main channel. We dissect these teams on a daily basis. Stay with us. We will uncover questions and answers, strengths and weaknesses, potential weaknesses that look glaring right now, I should say, that are glaring weaknesses. Most of these potential glaring weaknesses are potential strengths for these teams. The rosters are loaded. Let me make one point about the analysis of these teams that comes up almost every day. And that's the inexperience at starting quarterback for 2 of these teams in particular, Alabama, Ohio State, and 3 teams to a certain extent because DJ Uiagalelei has only started a couple games and has a lack of experience for the most part, even though he played against a couple of capable opponents last year in Notre Dame and Boston College in particular. All right, if we look through the playoff era, and I understand the question, the concern, and the point, it's valid. Lack of experience at the most important position on the field, the most complicated position on the field, could spell trouble, especially early in the season. These teams are so stacked, they should have another option to go to, but they may blow a game based on their selection of the wrong quarterback in the process in August. So it is a valid question, valid concern. But in looking at the playoff era, and even slightly before that, it's almost more of a probability that a inexperienced quarterback's going to play in and win the national championship than an experienced quarterback. Let's go through it. 2013, 2 inexperienced quarterbacks to start the season. Jameis Winston, redshirt freshman. Nick Marshall had never played. 2 inexperienced quarterbacks at the start of the season. They're different quarterbacks after 13 or 14 games. Of course, you got to get there and stay pretty much undefeated or 1 loss to get there. But Nick Marshall, Jameis Winston, inexperienced. 2014, Marcus Mariota, experienced starter. Cardell Jones and JT Barrett, both off the map, off the radar to start the season. Inexperienced, totally inexperienced. Win a national championship. 2015, Jake Coker coming in from Florida State. Inexperienced, had never started. Wins a national championship over Deshaun Watson, who had played more than half a season the year before, so we'll consider him experienced. We'll even consider that experienced, and it is. In college football, if quarterbacks played more than a half a season, there's so much churn and turnover that that certainly can be categorized experienced. 2016, Jalen Hurts didn't get on the field until the second quarter of the first game, so he was inexperienced to start the 2016 season. They get to the national title game. Deshaun Watson, of course, experienced. 2017, Jake Fromm, freshman, inexperienced, gets his team to a national title at number 15 preseason. And then, of course, we'll even consider Tua Tagovailoa, well, inexperienced. Jalen Hurts got them to the national championship game. Experienced. Tua had to save the day, of course. Inexperienced. He had garbage minutes. Never played a meaningful minute before the national championship game in 17. 2018, of course, Trevor Lawrence, the freshman phenom, goes all the way, wins the whole thing. 2018, Tua's experienced, I guess. Really, he's inexperienced, but the national championship game, second half and overtime, so meaningful. We'll even consider Tua experienced going into 2018. 2019, Joe Burrow with a season under his belt, experienced, and Trevor Lawrence as well. And then 2020, Justin Fields experienced. Mac Jones, probably more than anybody during this 8-year period, on the fence. He did play against quality opponents the year before, against Auburn and Michigan in particular, and some other teams, Mississippi State, Tennessee. So we'll consider Mac Jones experienced, Justin Fields as well. But if you go through the entire course of the playoff era, and then even delve back into 2013, we've got 8 of 16 quarterbacks that we would consider inexperienced, and it's really not an argument except for a couple of quarterbacks, whether they're experienced coming into that season or inexperienced. So Bryce Young or the Ohio State starter, whomever that turns out to be, it is a disadvantage to start the season. But has it been a big barrier, huge barrier historically? No, it's not been. Also, as we focus on these top 5 teams, and you know what? There's a 90-some% probability that these top 5, and especially more than 90% probability that 4 of these top 5 are going to finish in the slots that matter to get to the college football playoff. Who else can get in there? The focus is Iowa State because of their experience toppling Oklahoma. People like North Carolina and the potential there against Clemson. Of course, in the SEC, you got the 2 heavyweights, Alabama, Georgia. Who else? Texas A&M, the team that people are pointing at because of what happened in finishing in the top 4 in 2020. Inexperienced at quarterback. Should we worry about that? I guess not. And a stacked defense. Of course, the Pac-12, a wild card. They've been out of the mix for so long. But a Pac-12 undefeated team, they're not going to get ignored by the College Football Playoff Committee. They're going to make the playoff unless we've got 5 undefeated champions. So Oregon, USC, Ducks in particular looking at you to defend the Pac-12 and make a vie to the playoff. And then Cincinnati, of course, they are a huge wild card in all of this. And if they go undefeated and do not make the playoff, then certainly the system is truly broken and the group of 5 should be sanctioned off somewhere. So throughout this summer, we're going to be dissecting those teams in particular who can crack the code. So again, here we've addressed starting quarterback experience, inexperience, and who else can vie for it. We talk about this all the time. The last outsider national championship game was, of course, 2013. Florida State, number 11 preseason. Auburn was unranked. Auburn did not break the top 25 until week 7 at 5-1. They had lost to LSU by 2 touchdowns. Auburn did not get into the national picture, and that's not even the national championship race at number 22 in the nation until week 7. Auburn, of course, pulled out miracles and made a last month dash to the national championship game. So again, top 5, can anybody crack the code? Certainly everybody's contrarian or everybody's in line with the standard. We'll see if I take a risk, try to find a team as I prepare for my August predictions right here at the Voice of College Football. Next up, positional units, player breakdowns as we look at the top players at each position and rank them right here at the Voice of College Football. We will see you soon.